Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a pair of earrings that's modelled off of a monarch butterfly's wings. So to start off with, you're going to want to select your colours. Now if you want, just a quick thing before you start, if you don't want to go with the colours that you would find in a monarch butterfly, feel free to swap these colours out for any colours that you want. But for today I'm going to be using Primo Polymer clay, and this is Primo Sunshine Yellow, Orange and Alizarin Crimson. And they've all been run out on the middle setting of my pasta machine, roughly 1mm thick. And I'm just going to use this skinner blend cutter to cut out triangles so that I can make a easy skinner blend with them. And if you're interested in this cutter, there will be a link in the description below, as I make and sell them on my Etsy store, Jessima Design. There we go, nice and easy. Pop those back in with your packet of clay. And then just pick these up, and usually there'll be a little bit of residue, and you want to just clean that up before assembling your skinner blend. And now, as I was saying, you can swap these colours out for anything you want. Like I think a blue version of these would actually look quite nice, so feel free to do that. And also feel free to use any brand of clay that you want. It does not need to be Primo. But you'll just slot them together, just like that. And then just make sure that they stick together at least a little bit. And then you're going to fold that over, like so. And then if you have a pasta machine, you would roll it through your pasta machine, or if you have a roller, just roll it flat like so. Okay, and then you're going to fold it again, always folding it the same way, and then you're going to roll again, and you're going to repeat that process over and over again until the colours start to blend into one another. And if you find that the edges bow out like this, you can always just very gently press them in on themselves like so, and then continue rolling. And bear in mind, this goes quicker if you use a pasta machine, but you can absolutely do it by hand. And just keep folding and rolling until you get your blend. Okay, and that's how it should come out. Then what you're going to do is just grab a tissue blade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into strips. Just bear with me for 1 moment. There we go. Just going to cut that into strips like so, all about the same size as one another. And also, before I do that, I am going to trim off the majority of the yellow and the red, because I don't want so much of those colours in my piece. Because this is based off the butterfly and these are just supposed to be accent colours. I want the orange to be the dominant colour. Alright, then back to this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those and I'm going to stack them on top of each other, but I'm going to step ladder them. And this is going to alternate the colours and kind of create a striping effect in the finished piece. Like so. Okay, then just squish that together, like so. It's okay if it distorts. Okay, then I'm just going to take that, I'm going to squish that down, trying to get it into more of a square shape rather than this rectangle shape. These are quite thin width-wise, so if you find trouble with this part, you can always make those a little longer than what I have made them. But I'm also trying to encourage distortion here. I don't want them to be straight lines, I want them to look feathery. Okay, just take that and squish and push to get it all down so that it's just a nice nugget of clay. Then cut that in half, and you can see there roughly how that looks. And I'm just going to pop that together again, and actually I should alternate that, there we go, so that I don't get a mirror image. Right, then again press that together, getting it into a square shape. Okay, and you can work with more clay than what I've got here. I'm actually using quite a small amount of clay here because I am making only enough to make a pair of earrings, but if you plan to make a number of earrings, then you could work with more clay. So just keep that in mind. Alright, and that should work. I'm going to cut that in half, and you can see there how that looks. And I'm just going to pop that together like so. Okay, and press that together again. And that's what I'm going to work with. Then grab a nice sharp blade. Let's see, where's that? Here we go. Okay, and cut out pieces of clay. And try to keep them all about the same thickness as one another. There we go. Then separate those out. And you can see quite a quick, easy effect that looks very nice. And you could use this separately from the tutorial that I'm doing today. As you can see, it looks quite cool. You could do it in multiple different colors, and you could completely deviate from what I'm doing right now and create something really nice. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take those and I'm going to pop them together so that the pattern lines up like so. There we go. And then also I'm going to do that along the bottom as well. And then just continue popping them together just about so that you can create a slab of polymer clay. There we go. Then I'm going to just grab a piece of just plain printing paper. You could use greaseproof paper as well, and just burnish all of those pieces together. This will even out any difference in thickness. And it will also blend together any gaps that may be between each of those pieces. Alright, and there we go. It will form a nice slab. And this on its own actually would look really nice. Just as it is, you could cut out pieces from this. So if you wanted to stop at this point and just make earrings from this, you absolutely could. And also, a nice thing is it's double-sided. So this is roughly a millimeter thick. I would advise cutting your cane slices just a touch thicker than what you want your earrings to end up being. Because I am going to be making this just with one layer. I'm not going to add another layer because I want these to be double-sided. Alright, and I'm just giving that a burnish between both pieces of paper so that both sides can have a nice smooth matte finish. And I'm going to take a roller in the last little bit just to really even it out and make sure it's all about the same thickness. Right, there we go, nice and smooth. Okay, then I'm going to bring over a layered silkscreen. And the first layer is this one, and then the second one is this, where it will introduce little white dots. So we're going to start out with this one, and just peel that off the plastic backing. Just going to grab that and choose a nice spot. I think, let's see, whereabouts would look nice. I think this one works the best, like that. Right, then smooth that down over the top. And the first layer is going to be black paint. And it's just regular old acrylic paint. Just pop a bit on, don't need too much. Okay. Then scrape that across your clay, making sure you cover every little bit, like so. And then grab the corner, there we go, and peel that up, and then clean that silkscreen immediately. Okay, and that already looks fantastic. You could use it just like that if you wanted to. Now, I am going to be applying another layer to this. And now one thing to keep in mind when you're doing layered silk screening, especially with silk screens that have a kind of a shiny back to them, like if I peel this one off, you can see at the back is quite shiny compared to the front. That makes it a little bit sticky. And so you want to make sure that your paint is completely dry before you move on to the next layer, because otherwise the silk screen can pick up the paint. Best thing to do is when it comes to checking is you can take a piece of paper, run it over the surface, and it shouldn't pick up anything. It should be completely smooth. You shouldn't be able to touch it. Shouldn't be able to pick up anything at all. Right, then you can take this silk screen, make sure it's dry. This has not touched water in a couple days. It needs to be completely dry, otherwise it is going to, it will pick up the paint. Alright, and then lay that over the top. Sometimes I get lucky with getting it in the right spot right away. There we go. It's not actually too tricky. Then smooth that down. Just like so. Then grab some white acrylic paint and pop that over the surface like so. And then you basically repeat the same process where you just swipe that paint across the surface, making sure that you've got a nice clean cover everywhere. Okay. And then lift the silk screen up. And there we go. Clean that silk screen as well. Alright, and there we go. That's how it should look once the paint has dried. And here's what the other side looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place that down onto my tile. I'm using a glazed ceramic tile. And just press that down. You should be able to do that once the paint's dried. There we go. And that's just going to allow me to cut these pieces out with little trouble, and I can sand the back if I need to, so I'm not too worried about the backs being completely clean in terms of shiny spots, because when you bake or cut them out on a shiny surface it can make the backs a little uneven, but that's generally fine if you can sand the back. I hope that made sense. Just going to position my cutters, and I've chosen these because they kind of remind me of a moth wing shape, and so that's why I am using these shapes, and just move them around so that they fit like so. Okay, and then cut each of them out like so. Okay, and lift away that extra paint, extra clay. You can use that for all sorts of scrap pieces if you want to, but for now that's all that I need. Then take each of these and lift them up. There's going to be a little bit of scrap clay around the edges, mainly because paint doesn't cut very cleanly, and so you might want to just go around and just gently tap with your fingers to smooth out those fluffy pieces. And then you're going to take that and you're going to place that on a piece of printing paper, and this is what you're going to bake your piece on. And you're going to bake these for about 40 minutes at Primrose recommended temperature. They're quite thin, so they shouldn't need too long in the oven. And actually you could mark it down to half an hour if you wanted to, because we are going to do a second bake, because I'm going to be layering these on top of one another, and so a second bake means that you don't have to bake them as long the first time round. Alright, and just tidy them up, that way you have a lot less to do once they're baked. Okay, and here's how they look out of the oven. So at this point, if you feel like you need to, you can give them a sand, but if you bake them on a piece of paper, they should be pretty much good to go, because the backs should be nice and matte. Right, then you want to take these, and this is how they're going to be positioned. You're going to pop the larger one on top of the smaller one. Let me actually rotate that around so you can see. So that they look like a pair of wings. And that's how I'm going to do them. Now, this is why I wanted to bake them first, because I'm going to apply liquid clay and then bake them again for another half an hour. So that's why I said you could only bake it. You can bake it for only half an hour if you need. Now, any translucent liquid clay will work. I'm going to be using Kato, but Sculpey translucent will work as well. You're just going to take a bit of that, and let me make sure that I get this right. Just grab a bit of it and pop it at the top of your little butterfly wing. And do the same for this one. Just pop a little bit down. It does not take a lot to stick the two pieces together. And the reason I'm using translucent liquid clay is because if we do get any overflow in spots where you'll be able to see it, because it's translucent, it will be basically unnoticeable. Then you're just going to pop them on top of each other like so. And the liquid clay is, well, it's liquid, so you can move it around. It's not like once you've popped it down you can't reposition it. So make sure that you get it in the position that you like so. And then I'm going to bring over a piece of paper because I want to bake them on paper again. Just pop those guys on there. And just position them so that they're pretty much the same. Pop them next to each other so that you can make sure that you're getting the same image, because you want them to mirror each other. Okay, and then take another piece of paper, pop that on top, and then grab a tile, any kind will work, and place that down on top so that they bake flat. And then put that in the oven for about another half an hour. Alright, and when they come out of the oven, this is how they should look. They should be flexible, that's completely normal, but they should be stuck together at the seam, like so. Then you're going to take that and you're going to give it a little drill with a handheld pin drill. And I'll do that right at the top so that I drill through both pieces. And that shouldn't take more than a moment. There we go. There we go. And I'm not going to varnish these at all because I quite like the soft matte finish that they've got. And the paint is on nice and securely. You don't need to seal it if the paint has been baked on. Specifically, if you apply it to baked clay and don't bake the paint, then you do need to seal it. But baked acrylics are quite steadfast on the clay. You can see there, I can't scratch it off. Then I'm going to take a copper jump ring. I'm just going to pop that through. There we go. And then I have another jump ring, pop that on as well. Also, if you did want to varnish them, you absolutely could. So don't feel like you can't. That's just what I'm choosing to do. Then just open that jump ring and place your ear wire on. And I'm using copper because I think copper works quite nicely with the colours that I've done. And that is just about it. Very nice and simple way to assemble those pieces. And I have already done the other one, and you can see together they make quite a nice set. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Nice simple project, but I think it is quite effective. And you can see there is double-sided. And if you wanted to, you could silkscreen the other side as well so that you have a matching image on both sides of the earring. Also keep in mind you can change the colours up. This would look really nice in blue. I might do that in the future. But yeah, that is just about it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them as soon as possible. And if you liked the video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, as I do videos like this just about every single day, and I'm sure you won't want to miss a single one. And if you'd like to support the channel further so I can continue creating videos just like this one, please do consider becoming a member. There is a join button just below this video, or there is a link to my Patreon account in the description below. Both places are where I post more complex tutorials than the ones that I post free on YouTube. But it's also just a really good way to support the channel and is greatly appreciated. And again, I do hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.